All right, time for a look at the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Key to the Cubs' win tonight. Here is Kap Haugh.
All right, well, listen, it wasn't going to be Jake Arrieta because you know what? I was banking on him being dominant tonight. It was really more overpowered what we wanted to see from that offense, and here's what stood out. Yeah, we saw a little bit of it against us from the Tigers. I'm applying what I saw from the Tigers to us in what we would do to the Braves, and here's why. We've hit 39 homers in the second half. The Braves have hit 17, last in the National League. We scored 144 runs coming into this ballgame. The Braves have scored 94, 14th. Not a very good offense. They've had their struggles this year. We had the advantage offensively, and I really thought it was important for us to get out, see that long ball tonight. We saw it a couple times, and again, Coughlin had the triple, and again, that's what you wanted to see going into this ball game, setting the tone early.
We had our laughs in the newsroom as well as Freddie Gonzalez, the Braves manager, was ejected. But at the end of the ejection, where we got our laugh is, watch what he does. He is not happy with Doug Eddings. Now he's going to pull Lou Piniella, kick some dirt on the plate. Now Doug Eddings is going to go over and go, you just kicked dirt by my home plate.
How dare you?
Watch this as he goes by Chris Coughlin. Hi, Cogs.
How dare you, Freddie? You tried to get in Cogs' head right there. You did. That's mental warfare. You know what Freddie did? He tried to get him off his game, but you know what our guy did? You know what Cogs did on the next pitch?
Line drive, base hit. Yeah, Cogs played for him in Florida.
Right.
And so he gets ejected. Hi, Cogs. Keeps going.
Love it.
Pretty funny. Back to Wrigley. Here is Jake Arrieta.
Jake, so many people disregard pitcher wins except for maybe starting pitchers. Why do you think that is, and how much do you put into it when you pick?
I don't put much into it, really, at all. Only thing that matters really is getting back on track as a team. We had a couple of tough games against Detroit after a good run. You know, my job and my mindset was to come out, put a stop to that, and get us going in the right direction, and you know, get another streak rolling. So I mean, I don't think about that. I think that if somebody's got a lot of wins and a high ERA, they go one way with it, and then if it's the opposite, they go the other way. So somebody's always going to say something about it, but it is what it is. We got the win.
Is it cool for when people say Jake is
A little bit with Jake Arrieta. We'll be right back. That Cubs postgame live presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. With a look at it tomorrow afternoon's Game 2 of the four-game set against the Braves. We're straight out of CSN.
The McDonald's Jalapeno Double and all-new Jalapeno McChicken are loaded with sliced and crispy jalapenos. So they're pretty hot. Try them now for just $2 each at McDonald's.
How's it going up there?
I need more time!
You only get a handful of minutes to start a new life.
We gotta go!
Keep looking! It's gotta be here!
He's coming!
So you grab what you need to get you through.
Oh, there it is.
I'm gonna go have our baby now.
The keys! I'm so nervous.
Kids are expensive, so I'm always looking to get more for my money. That's why I switched from Uverse to Xfinity. They have the most free on-demand TV shows and movies on all my devices. It's perfect for me, because my kids are costing me a fortune.
I'm going to Carlo!
Don't settle for Uverse. Xfinity is perfect for people who want more entertainment for their money. Sign up today or get started with this great offer. Call or go online today.
Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Cholula Hot Sauce, the flavorful hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap.
It can be hotter than Death Valley in your attic.
But that's still not hot enough to sweat out bugs. Take these boxes. They're not only perfect for storing old yearbooks and pictures.
You find something?
They're also a perfect food source and nesting material for roaches. That's why I identify their favorite snacks, like old books, clothing, wood.
Then I seal entryways and use the latest scientific methods.
Orkin, pest control down to a science.
There's so many details that go into building an asymmetric surfboard. Designing things for myself at first was really an exciting thing. But watching somebody else ride something I made, I mean, that's really where it's at. There are lots of ways, to refresh the world. But in the end, I just want to give people something they can enjoy.
It's only a muffin, freshly baked in store. And just one bite will have you wanting more. New freshly baked cranberry orange double chocolate and blueberry McCafe muffins. Now a small McCafe coffee and any muffin is only $2.29.
Bravo's back at it tomorrow afternoon at Wrigley. Kyle Hendricks gets the start for Chicago. He'll be opposed by Shelby Miller, who's just 5-9. The ERA, a very solid 2.49. Hendricks going for his 7th win of the season. Todd, in his last start, did not have his best stuff against the White Sox. Lasted just 3 1/3.
Well, I think Kyle's going to bounce back, and this is a good team to do it against. Again, you saw a lot of ground balls today in the ball game, 11 of them from Jake Arrieta, and I think you're going to see a lot of the same tomorrow from Kyle Hendricks. It's going to be the key, keeping the ball down in the zone, but getting into that rhythm with that two-seamer. So this is an offense you can navigate if you make your pitches, but keep that ball down. You should get the results you want.
Well, we'll see how the Cubs do tomorrow. It's game 2 of this 4-game set. Then the Indians in for 1, and then it's off to the West Coast where you'll get the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers, 2 teams that are battling, obviously, for that division title out there, and the Dodgers with their brand-new addition from the Philadelphia Phillies. Thank you for watching Cubs Post-Game Live, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Again, the Cubs beat up on the Braves tonight. Pat Boyle, Ayanna Crystal are coming up next with Sportsnet Central. We will see you from the field at Wrigley tomorrow.
I'm eager to find out or feel what it's like to be in a playoff game here at Wrigley.
Well, Joe, you ain't seen nothing yet. What's up? Mike Side with Ayanna Crystal. I am Pat Boyle, and this is Sportsnet Central presented by GMC.
Well, after returning to earth, the cooled-off Cubs look to get back to their winning ways.
Drilled to deep right. It is gone!
It wasn't luck. It was skill that had the Bears impressed in Indy.
And RG3 goes down once again.
Tiger's been too much like Mike this year. Golfing like MJ, even doing the Jordan shrug. Sportsnet Central, right about now.
You are connected to Sportsnet Central, presented by GMC.
Jake Arrieta may not like the job title ace, but that's what he is. Trying to become MLB's first 15-game winner. 11 consecutive quality starts entering tonight's game with Atlanta. Opposing Arrieta, Illinois native Mike Fultonevich, graduate of Manuka High School. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. Manager not happy with that strike zone. Freddie Gonzalez comes out to talk to Doug Eddings, A.J. Przynski's good buddy. But on his way out, Gonzalez made sure to say hello to former Marlins player Chris Coghlan. However, Cogs wouldn't be as kind here. Very next pitch, Coghlan lines one through the right side. That plates Addison Russell on the RBI single. So Freddie's gone. Cubs strike first. With 2 aboard, Anthony Rizzo digs in.
Drilled to deep right. It is gone! A 3-run homer for Rizzo.
24th round tripper for Rizzo this season. Cubs up 4-0 after 3, 4th inning. Cubs young batters just keep up the hit parade. Russell singing solo here to the left field bleachers. His first homer since August 2nd. Cubs up 5-zip. To the 5th, Kyle Schwarber at first. Coghlan down the chop. Daddy Schwarbucks racing around to score. Coghlan safe at 3rd with an RBI triple. Cubs up 6-love. More than enough for Jake Arrieta. Cubs righty through 6 scoreless innings, racking up 7 strikeouts. Make it now 12 straight quality starts for Jake Arrieta. He helps the Cubs end that 3-game skid with a convincing 7-1 victory at Wrigley. Arrieta quickly putting a stop to the Cubs' losing streak. He's been outstanding all season long. In his last 10 games, he's 8-1 now with a 1.41 ERA. In 70 innings, he's got 67 punch-outs, and his 15 wins are now tops in the major leagues.
Only thing that matters really is getting back on track as a team. We had a couple of tough games against Detroit after a good run. You know, my job and my mindset was to come out, put a stop to that, and get us going in the right direction, and you know, get another streak rolling.
Jake obviously was really good. Just got his pitch numbers up a little bit high. I mean, 6.107, that's good with that kind of a lead. Now, had we not had that kind of a lead, I probably would have sent him back out, maybe given him 10 more pitches, see where we were at that particular moment, but I thought that was good enough. And then, of course, Riz keeping that ball fair is quite a feat.
That takes us to tonight's Country Financial top performers. We stay at Clark and Addison for obvious reasons. Anthony Rizzo with his 27th long one of the year. Addison Russell, couple more hits, his 8th Yabo of the season. And Arrieta, dominant again. He's the first Cubs pitcher with 12 straight quality starts since Greg Maddux did it back in 1992. Here's Todd Hollinsworth after the Jake helped the Cubs get back to their winning ways.
That's what you want. Arrieta comes out and gives you shutdown innings right off the top, and you get the offense rolling. 3-run homer from Anthony Rizzo. Coughlin swings the bat. Addison Russell gets it done. Gave him that cushion early in the ballgame. 4th, 5th, and 6th innings, he cruises. This is a game that you want to go get. You want to make the statement early. When you play a team that's down on their luck, you want to go out there and get them early in the ballgame. Set the tone. Knock the wind out of their sails, and that's what we did tonight.
So Cubs get the win. We'll see if that created more distance between themselves and the defending champion San Francisco Giants as we take a closer look at the NL wildcard race a little bit later on this half hour in Sportsnet Central.
Now to this developing story, USA Today's Bob Nightingale reported that Kenny Williams could be enticed to leave his role as president of the Sox for a front office job with Toronto, Seattle, or possibly Philadelphia. Now earlier today, Kenny emailed the Tribune in response to the rumor saying, quote, "The only thing in my future is a 9:05 game against the Angels tonight in Anaheim, and the start of a 10 straight wins and a playoff spot," end quote. Well, as for that game Kenny was referring to, the Sox tried to avoid a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Angels, and Adam Eaton gets his team off to a good start. He doubles this one. That's headed to right field, leading off the game, then later scores on Jose Abreu's groundout. So it makes it 1-0 Sox early on. But in the bottom half, the Angels get that run right back. Mike Trout, hits a double off the wall in right, so just like that, we're tied at 1. Bottom of the third. Quintana in trouble with the bases loaded for the Halos, but he gets C.J. Cron to ground to third, and Tyler Saladino makes the play, and the threat is over. We're still tied in the 5th. Bases loaded for Carlos Sanchez, and he comes through with a clean single up the middle. And with that, Adam LaRoche comes on home, and everybody advances. The Sox leading this one in the top of the 5th. It's 4-1.
Our Bears preseason coverage is brought to you by Apt, electronics, appliances, and more. The Bears finished their 2nd day of practicing with the Colts. The biggest news out of Indy for John Fox's crew, Charles Leno practiced with the first teamers at right tackle, replacing Jordan Mills, who worked with the twos for a while before he left with an injury. Should be interesting to see who gets the start in Saturday's preseason tilt at right tackle. If they aren't comfortable with either Leno or Mills, there has been talk, of course, of moving Kyle Long to right tackle. Yesterday, Jay Cutler said the Colts D got the best of his unit. Cutler had some interceptions in the red zone today. Andrew Luck and the Colts offense moved the ball against the Bears' 3-4 scheme rather easily at times. Safety Antrell Roll on going up against Luck.
I love going against Luck, man. You know, I think he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in this league. You know, he's very, very wise, you know, beyond his age. He runs a very efficient offense. He's very great at licking off defenders. And, you know, I think he's very poised, you know, in his decision-making, and you know, he's a hell of a quarterback.
He can run, he can sit in the pocket, so it's different angles how you'll have to rush him. And, you know, instead of going against Jay every day in practice, you got to be disciplined in your rush where you can't go too high, Andrew will take off, or you can't come under too early, he'll take off, and, you know, he's a great quarterback.
Joining us now from Indy, Adam Hogue, Bears insider for WGN Radio. Adam, on Wednesday, Jay Cutler said the Colts defense took day one. Who looked better on day two?
Well, I think the Bears defense performed a little bit better today, and I think it was maybe closer today, but right at the end of practice, we saw the Colts march up and down the field in the 2-minute drill with ease, and then Jimmy Clausen threw an interception on his first snap with a 2, so it kind of got ugly for the Bears at the end. So if you had to pick a winner today, it was probably the Colts, but I think overall the Bears were happier with their performance in the second practice.
Alshon Jeffrey and Kevin White on the sidelines. We know Eddie Royals looked pretty good. Give us your wide receiver depth chart at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I still put Jeffrey number 1. He should be back for the start of the regular season. But from there, I mean, Eddie Royals really your number 2 guy. He's probably going to line up outside and inside in the slot. And then Marquise Wilson's kind of got to be able to do those same things, and he's probably your number 3. From there, it's interesting. Will Josh Bellamy stick? He's probably the next guy up alongside Mark Mariani, who has an edge because he's probably, well, I don't know if they made a decision at returner, but he's certainly the leader in the clubhouse as the kick returner, so that gives him an edge as well. I know a lot of fans like what they saw in Cam Meredith, the rookie out of Illinois State last week in the preseason game. He's got an outside chance, but maybe is ultimately a practice squad guy.
Adam, what position battle are you focusing on most at Saturday night's game against the Colts?
Well, Brock Vereen did not perform well in the first preseason game as he got his opportunities with the starters at safety alongside Antrell Roll. Adrian Amos, the rookie out of Penn State, is getting the chance this week. It'll be, it's been kind of hard to really evaluate that in practice because you can't tackle. So the game on Saturday will be huge for Adrian Amos. It's kind of his week to show what he can do. Brock Vereen didn't perform up to expectations. We'll see if Adrian Amos can do it. Otherwise, they probably go to Ryan Mundy, the veteran who actually had a pretty good year last year, I thought, and has played alongside Antrell Roll before. They played together in New York. So ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the pairing.
Adam Haugh, great stuff as always. We'll be following your work on WGN Radio. We'll see you when you get back to Chicago.
All right, thanks, Pat.
All right, so 2 consecutive days of practicing with each other, and no real surprise here for 2 days. The Colts look to be a stronger team. The Bears had trouble catching up with Indy's offense during today's drills, but they believe this 2-day get-together will benefit them in the long run.
They wanted the 2-minute drill, so that's really the only thing that matters. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And it was a good atmosphere. To come out here for the last couple of days and practice against these guys, man. Just get a different feel for things.
I thought all in all it was a great couple days of practice. I thought today was another one as well. I think we're probably not as oiled up in 2-minute drill as Indy is at this stage, but all in all, I was very pleased.
Bears are off till Saturday night now. NFL preseason action tonight. Browns gave former Bears backup Josh McCown the start. With Johnny Manziel seeing some action in the second half against the Bills. Things not good for McCown early on. First quarter, under pressure here. Jay Cutler's former understudy rolling out. Going deep for Gary Barnidge, but the tight end takes a big hit. McCown's pass intercepted by Bills corner Ronald Darby. But wait, there's more. McCown of the second. Looking for Andrew Hawkins this time, but he overthrows him, and it's that Darby guy again. Ronald Darby with his second pick. McCown finished 7 of 10 with those 2 interceptions. Johnny Football came in after halftime. The Browns inside the Bills 25, steps up in the pocket, zings it to the end zone, wide open. Shane Wynn, touchdown, Browns. Manziel's pumped, 10 of 18, $118. Bills, the win, 11-10.
More preseason action. Lions and Redskins. Robert Griffin III playing for the first time since declaring himself the best quarterback in the league late in the first. RG3 gets lit up on an incompletion. Washington then forced to punt. So in the second, more trouble for the fourth-year QB deep in his own territory. Griffin fumbles, and Detroit recovers while RG3 stays down. It was just a rough night for Griffin. He was diagnosed with a concussion as the Redskins rallied for their 21-17 win.
Anthony Rizzo provided the thunder, and Jake Arrieta did the rest. We'll head back to Wrigley Field. Luke Stuckmeyer joins us with more reaction to the Cubs' rout over the Braves. Did I go? Did I go? Yes, you did, Marlon. to the Giants. And Bird's new team badly needed his offense tonight against the wild card leading Pirates. Tigers played more like Michael Jordan than the guys won 14 majors, but today he looked like the old Tiger with an MJ reaction to boot.
Bears preseason coverage is presented by Apt, electronics, appliances, and more since 1936. Sportsnet Central on Comcast Sportsnet is presented to you by GMC. We are professional grade.
I thought you said you were going to test drive this Buick first.
I am test driving it for 24 hours.
Nice Buick. I guess the test drive last night went well.
Actually, I'm still on it. You know we're test driving this Buick for 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Test washing it.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know when you're done. I'm going to take it test shopping.
Now get the best of remaining 2015s with cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select Enclave models in stock the longest. That's over $7,200 on this Buick Enclave.
Code red. Code red. We're code red. Come on. Laundry room staff.
How bad is it?
Oh. She took her juice box right to the face.
Clear.
Okay, so.
What about backup, Lammy?
This is backup, Lammy. All right, go. Go, 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 go. Get your head right. Don't let her see the fear in your eyes.
Okay.
See the new line of Samsung Active Wash washers at Apt.
Matt, what do we got going on here today?
Well, we put an addition on this home.
Before we start painting, obviously we got to prep. We got exterior and interior 3M Scotch Blue Painter's tape. The exterior tape can hold up to the elements, the wind, the rain, the hot sun, the humidity. It has a waterproof backing. One of my favorite things about this tape, it has a quick snap tear. Also, it comes off cleanly up to 7 days. It's the perfect tape to use for exterior painting.
A few years ago, I won $1,000 a week for life, and I got myself a suit.
Morning.
Morning. Because when you're collecting $1,000 every single week, you can never be too careful. I'm good. And this baby has saved me more than a few times. Okay. All right. Let's do this.
Win up to $5,000 a week with Cash for Life. The longer you live, the more you get.
Jeffy1016 posted, worked hard, promotion, time to play hard, hashtag upgrade my car.
Congrats, Jeffy. Now's the time to hit the Honda Summer Clearance event. You can get a great deal on the Honda Accord from KBB.com's best overall brand. With rear view camera and text message reader standard, it's the perfect upgrade.
Awesome. Go, Jeffy. Go, Jeffy.
Hurry in to the Honda Summer Clearance event for a great deal on your new Honda.
Today, the city unveiled honorary Dutchie Carey Waite, the corner of Michigan and East Pearson. They called the widow of the late Harry Carey the first lady of Chicago baseball. Her grandson, former Cubs announcer Chip Caray, now with the Braves, was on hand for the special occasion.
And on hand for the festivities was Hall of Famer and former Cub Ryne Sandberg. Rhino resigned as manager of the Phillies in late June, but he has been keeping an eye on the Northsiders and has seen firsthand the progression of the Cubs.
I really feel that the Cubs are on an upswing with what they're doing, and very good young talent, and a lot of effort goes into that with through the drafts and through the young players that they've now brought up together as a group, and so they're definitely headed in the right direction, and hopefully it's playoff this year for them.
Rhino saw another quality outing from that guy, Jake Arrieta. He's our GMC professional grade player. Arrieta with 6 more scoreless innings of work. In his last 12 starts, all quality. Arrieta has a pristine 1.26 ERA over that time. Jake has struck out 81 in 86 innings with opponents batting 167 over that span. With more on the Jake Meister's 15th win, Luke Stuckmeyer has your press pass from Wrigley. And Madden said Jake Arrieta should get serious Cy Young consideration. Luke, he performed again like he's worthy of that consideration.
Yeah, he was money tonight, and he was the perfect pitcher to stop this 3-game skid for the Cubs. You know, the wind was blowing out to start the game. He's a ground ball pitcher. He didn't give up a single fly ball out in this game in 6 innings, all punch outs, all ground outs. He's the first pitcher in the majors this season to 15 wins, and if that doesn't impress you, then you have to look at what you were talking about. 12 straight quality starts. That is the longest streak by a Cubs pitcher in 21 years.
I don't like to harp on quality starts. You know, I wasn't really thrilled with 6 innings. I would have liked, you know, to get a little deeper. There were some opportunities for me to shorten some at bats. You know, on the flip side though, these guys, you know, they fought off some tough pitches. You know, in most situations, I wouldn't have done anything differently. I don't think I had an out recorded in the air tonight. All ground ball outs and punch outs. So, you know, I mean, the way this park's been playing, that has to be the mindset. You know, and obviously we want to preserve the pen and keep them fresh for the stretch we're fixing to endure. But, you know, I think that's always the mindset, is to go out there and have a quality outing.
Boy, and plenty of run support for Jake Arrieta tonight as well. 23 runs now in the last 3 games for the Cubs offense. They've been breaking out the big bats. Arrieta helps deliver as well, and the atmosphere around this ballpark more and more like a playoff game every day. Before the game, I had a chance to sit down with manager Joe Madden, and I asked him if Wrigley Field and this atmosphere is everything he hoped it would be.
It's pretty incredible. I've been in some good baseball situations. I've been through some significant moments, World Series, All-Star games, playoff wins, and all kinds of good stuff. The atmosphere on a nightly basis, for me, is unparalleled. I've been, you know, you talk about New York and Boston in playoff situations and other big market areas. I'm eager. I'm eager to find out or feel what it's like to be in a playoff game here at Wrigley, because even when it's not a playoff situation, it kind of feels that way.
And to put this Arrieta pitching performance into perspective, when I said 21 years, the pitcher who last had 11 straight quality starts was Steve Traxel. So that's a long time ago. Miguel Montero said when he talks about pitchers that he has caught in baseball, and you're talking about Randy Johnson, Dan Herron in his prime, he said Arrieta is as good as anybody he has caught. So that's pretty high praise for the Cubs pitcher. Cubs stopped the slide, and Arrieta was the man. They'll try and beat the Braves again tomorrow. Live at Wrigley Field, Luke Stuckmeyer. Pat, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Luke, we look forward to your full report on the midnight edition, and we'll have Game 2 of that series tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 2:30 right here on CSN.
Did I go? 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 Did I go?
Later.
Did I go?
So you saw.
Did I steal? Did I steal? Did you see me steal and get thrown out?
Yes.
Done.
Man, that rant never gets old. In the latest trade news, as teams are making their pushes for the postseason, the Giants acquired former Cub Marlon Byrd from the Reds today for a minor league pitcher. So with Hunter Pence on the disabled list, the Giants needed a replacement and someone who can hit in order to try to catch up with the Cubs in the wild card race. Byrd has 19 homers and 42 RBIs in 96 games. So the Giants 3 games behind the Cubs entering the night, and they had former Southsider Jake Peavy on the mound in Pittsburgh. It's 2-zip Bucks in the 6th with a man aboard, and Neil Walker takes Peavy deep to right field and say bye-bye to that 2-run bomb. Walker's 13th homer. It's 4-0 Pirates. Later in the inning, Francisco Cervelli hits a soft grounder to first. Peavy hustles over to cover the bag and takes a tumble. It's all good, though. He gets the out. Peavy was able to tag first with his glove as he was falling. Not the most grateful, but who cares? He took care of business as the Pirates, though, they win this one 4-0. So the Cubs and Pirates both win, stretching their lead over the Giants, who are now 4 games back of the Cubs. Joe Madden's crew still 8.5 back of St. Louis in the Central Division.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes! Did you see that look? Michael indicating he can't believe it.
Yes! Michael was the trailblazer when it came to the sports shrug. Even his airness entered rarefied air that he couldn't explain at times. Tiger Woods, he used to be in that stratosphere, but now, in the midst of his worst year on tour, Woods has been playing more like Mike than the guy who's won 14 majors. Today, Woods turned in one of those rounds we used to see him shoot in his sleep, complete with the Jordan shrug. Tiger teeing up in Michael's home state of North Carolina. Woods needing a top 2 finish to make the FedEx Cup playoffs. 10th hole, which was his first of the day. How about this for a little birdie? That was a sign of things to come. A little bit later on, number 4, Woods, this birdie putt. He walks as soon as he hits it thinking he's missed it, but the putt goes, and then Woods gives us the shrug. Similar to MJ's reaction in the 92 finals. Tiger shoots a 6 under 64, best round in 2 years, and he is 2 shots off the lead.
Well, Marian Hossa has his day with the world's most famous trophy. We're going across the pond next on Sportsnet Central.
It's a golden opportunity to elevate each moment. Hit every mark. Thread every needle. Turn every ride into a thrill ride. Come into the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, where you'll find some of the best offers of the year on our most exhilarating models. Lease the all-wheel drive 2015 IS 250 for $329 a month for 36 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
Hey, Ralph Punzel.
Oh, hey, Ronnie.
Where are you headed?
Great Clips.
You're getting a haircut?
I checked in already. Using their online check-in.
Online check?
It saves you time.
You're getting a haircut.
Why? Thinking about applying to astronaut school.
That's cool.
Okay, I'll see you, Ronnie.
Next time, save time. Download the online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Shopping online is as easy as it gets. Wouldn't it be great if hiring plumbers, carpenters, and even piano tuners were just as simple? Thanks to Angie's List, now it is. Start shopping online from a list of top-rated providers.
Visit angieslist.com today.
Tomorrow, the Northsiders swing for the bleachers in a Game 2 tilt with Atlanta. But first, join us for Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto. Then, buckle up and let's get ready to rumble. Cubs, Braves, tomorrow at 2:30 on CSN.
My dad thinks the best color for a car is red. My cousin says he prefers European cars. And my friend, well, he thinks everyone should drive what he drives. My car is my car, and it's my choice. Mitsubishi.
Go to maxmatson.com. There's 0% APR financing for 60 to 72 months plus APR cash and a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Since 1982, more than 50,000 buyers have called Max Matson their Mitsubishi dealer.
Visit CSNChicago.com for great deals on your favorite team's merchandise. From jerseys and hats to autographed memorabilia and more. Outfit yourself in your favorite team's gear and visit the fan shop at CSNChicago.com now.
Saturday night on CSN. It's a flash flood on the field as Colorado rushes into action against our Fire. Watch the Men in Red defend their home turf and turn back the Rapids. Live coverage starts at 7 p.m. on CSN. Go Fire.
Welcome back. It's time for another update from Anaheim. It's 4-1 Sox in the fifth, and when Jose Abreu rips a shot down the line with a couple men on, it's called foul. But manager Robert Ventura challenges the call, and after review, it's determined the ball just caught the foul line, meaning it's a fair ball. So the umps send both runners home, and the Sox tack on a couple more, so they're up 6-1.
Time now to find out where that Stanley Cup is hanging out. The trophy remains over in Europe. Today it was with Marian Hossa in Trenčín, Slovakia. Number 81 showed off the world's most famous trophy to some young hockey players in his homeland. Probably had his neighbor over, Zdeno Chara, to brag a little bit. And reports say Hossa ate a pierogi out of the cup. We've officially run out of things to do. We're eating pierogies out of the Stanley Cup.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus.
Number 3 goes to Jacob Hanneman of the Cubs AA affiliate, the Tennessee Smokies. The center fielder makes 2 spectacular catches against the Montgomery Biscuits, but it was not enough as the Biscuits rout the Smokies 17-4.
Gotta love those biscuits. Number 2, Giants Pirates. Starling Marte's grounder ticketed for center, but Brandon Crawford had other ideas. Behind the back, biscuit toss there. Slick play by Crawford, but his Giants get shut out by the Pirates 4-0.
And number 1, who else but Tiger Woods on his first hole of the day at Wyndham Championship. Tiger holes out his chip from the rough, and the birdie gets his round off to a great start and earns our play of the day.
Again, Cubs win 7-1. They increased their lead over the Giants to 4 games for that final wild card spot. Game 2 of that series against Atlanta tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 2:30. Thanks for watching Sportsnet Central, presented by GMC.
I'll be back at midnight for a brand new edition of Sportsnet Central. I'll see you then.
A pitcher who can paint the corners is known as a Rembrandt. At GMC, we get why people love that kind of precision. After all, in everything we build, that's exactly what we deliver. This is precision. This is GMC.
Now during the GMC Summer Sell Down, get cash back for 20% of the MSRP on select Sierra models in stock the longest. That's over $10,000 on this Sierra.
See the full line of Frigidaire Professional products at Apt. Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
There are other luxury cars starting around $29,900. But when put to the challenge, not one of them made this kind of, what's the word? Impact. The Audi A3, the only car in its class to receive both a 5-star overall safety rating and IIHS Top Safety Pick.
Some cashback cards make things so complicated. They limit where you earn bonus cashback. Here's the way I see it. You are point A, and your cashback is point B. The simple way between them, the Quicksilver card from Capital One. Quicksilver earns you unlimited 1.5% cashback on every purchase everywhere. I said unlimited everywhere. Now that's more like it. What's in your wallet?
Get ready for Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and many more as they battle Loki and Marvel's most sinister villains for control of the ultimate source of power. Journey into a universe unlike anything you've ever seen and experience this epic event live. Marvel Universe Live.
Playing at United Center September 10th through 13th and at Allstate Arena September 18th through 20th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
With a new Joe, a new team, a new state of mind, this just might be your year, Cubs fans. And to celebrate, we've upped our Twitter game, and you should too. We're stacked with game time updates, fast fan reactions, instant scores, and exclusives from insider Patrick Mooney. Share all your own favorite boys in blue moments with @CSN Cubs. And we'll keep an eye out.
We now join the following program already in progress.
Let's go to, let's see, Jimmy in Calumet City. Hey, James, what's up there, Governor?
Fine, everything's great. How's everything with you two? Hope it's the same.
Everything's great.
I got 2 quick comments. One, go Bears. And second, I want to proclaim Chicago the sports capital of the world. From 1985 up until today, you can have your people look it up. Chicago has won more professional championships than any city. That's counting the Bulls, the Blackhawks, the Sox, and the Bears. Have them look it up. We've won more than any city out there. Check it out.
That's really more than Boston, huh?
Check it out. From 1985 to 2015. The last 30 years, we have won more championships than any team. I mean, any city. Have them check it out.
I'm going to have to check that out, Jimmy. Thank you for the call. You're a good man.
All right, now take care.
See you, buddy.
We've had a good run, minus the 30 years in
If you
running.
go back to 30 years, you got 1 Bears, you got 1 White Sox, you got 3 Blackhawks is 5, and 6 Bulls is 11.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's got 04, 07, and 13 for the Red Sox. That's 3.
How many times have the Patriots won? 4 times?
4 is 7. The Bruins won in 2011.
Celtics in 08.
So that's 8. Celtics in 08, that's 9.
If we're going back 30 years, the Celtics in 86.
That's 10. Did they win any more?
No, that's it for the Celtics.
So that's it. So he's right. We've got him 11 to 10. Take that! How about you, Chase Utley? What do you got out there in L.A.? Softy.
We also have the greatest athlete to ever play anything who played in this city. Know that. For me, that's the ultimate trump card.
Secretariat's from Chicago?
I don't know where that horse is from, and please stop doing that. MJ.
He is the greatest. Back to the phones. Dick's in Iowa. What's up, buddy? Richard?
Yes.
You're on the air, buddy.
Yeah, Dick Combs from Clinton, Iowa. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Every morning.
Appreciate
I
it.
listen to you guys all the time, and I just wanted to comment that I've been a Sox fan since dating back to Luke Kapling and Teddy Lyons. I went there with my dad when I was a youngster. So all these years I've been a Sox fan. But you know what? You're right. My dad says you can't be a Cub fan and a Sox fan, but it's hard not to be a Cub fan these days with these young ball players that are out there producing for a good manager. So I find myself forgetting a few things that my dad said about hating the Cubs, and I'm pulling for them this year. I hope they go all the way.
Well, do you think that someday when you meet your dad again in heaven, he will walk up to you and go, Richard, I was up there watching you, and you were cheering for the Cubs, and I am very upset with you. Or would he understand?
Well, I'll tell you, I watched it when the Sox won the World Series, and when the last out was made, I ran out of the front of the house, and I looked up into the sky, and I said, Dad, we finally did it. I saw something that you never got to see. Well, he went back to Shoeless Joe, and that's all he talked about. But I told him then, I said, I got to see it done, Dad. And I said, we finally done it. And so I had my piece of little share of heaven back then. So he understands.
There you go. Thanks for the call. Appreciate your support watching the show, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. We'll see you. There you go. Interesting.
The life of Dick in Clinton, Iowa.
Jerry Reinsdorf told me he had no idea, and Theo echoed this from Boston, no idea how many people that would come up to him and say, I went to the cemetery and I brought a pennant, a hat, a T-shirt, a newspaper clipping, a ball, a bat, whatever, and put it at the gravesite of a loved one and go, we finally did it.
Well, it's a connection, right? I mean,
right.
That you and your dad went to games, watched games, whatever it was, talked about.
I always said I would not be doing this for a living if I did not have the love, the insane love for sports that my dad had instilled in me and my brother. And if the Cubs do win, you bet I will be going out shortly thereafter to the cemetery, set a ball or a Cub pennant or something and go, Dad, finally.
Best sports memory you ever had with your father, go.
Best sport, there's no question. He was a DePaul graduate. We had season tickets. Going there to watch DePaul pound UCLA when Larry Brown was the head coach.
Who was on
or
that?
Pound Digger and Notre Dame. Mark Aguirre and the boys. No question.
So going to the Horizon with your pops.
Or going to Alumni Hall, the first nationally televised game ever that DePaul played in a regular season. When they beat Rudy Macklin, Dwayne Scales, Jordy Hultberg, and LSU, no question.
Where was Cappy sitting in Alumni Hall on that day? And how old were you?
It was all bleachers. And I mean, that had to
Do
be.
you remember where you were?
God, I had to be 18.
I mean, I remember being in the upper rafters of Alumni Hall, the very top when Northwestern was playing there when they were renovating McGall Hall. with Andre Good and Art Aaron, and nobody is co-voyaging with me on this, but that was a great Northwestern team. That
I coached against them. We got pounded at DePaul by them.
Yeah, maybe Les Grobstein actually is. But regardless, that team went to the NIT, and I think that's the team that lost to DePaul.
Kenny Patterson on half court.
On a buzzer beater by Kenny.
Over the head, whip it down the court, and it went in.
That was a great Northwestern team, which, by the way, was out at Northwestern Welsh Ryan yesterday in the three-point shooting contest.
Yeah, I had one of our interns at Comcast walk up to me. He said, "Hey, Mark Carmen's a pretty good shooter." I'm like, "Really?"
Oh,
he
awful.
said, "Yeah, he was making a bunch of shots." I go, "Did he win?" He goes, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, shocking."
I mean, I felt the form was there. I was right around the rim. But 2 rounds, 10 points total. Embarrassing. Dave Ennett watching me.
Should have brought me out.
You wouldn't have done any better.
I would have won that thing. 312-235-2525. David Ross of the Chicago Cubs, and more of your calls next.
Kap Haugh on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Horowitz & Associates, Illinois' top personal injury lawyers.
For 7 years, I was an iron worker here in Chicago until I fell and lost the use of my limbs. The construction company tried to blame me. They said the accident was my fault. But Cliff Horowitz knew the truth, and he proved it in court. I wound up winning a $64 million verdict, the largest in Illinois history. Some people say all lawyers are the same. They're wrong. Cliff Horowitz got my family the whole justice we deserve.
Horowitz & Associates. We fight for working people.
Cliff Horowitz fights for working people.
Whoa, Marge! You're not Marge.
I'm sort of Marge. We both drive a stick. We both like saving money on car insurance. And we both feel integrity, such as that of healthcare in the America of the U.S. And therefore, yes, thank you.
No, please, stop!
Sorta you isn't you. Start with a quote from Esurance and get a set of discounts personalized to you, not someone sorta like you. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Weeknights on Comcast Sportsnet. Visit CSNChicago.com for great deals on your favorite team's merchandise. From jerseys and hats to autographed memorabilia and more. Outfit yourself in your favorite team's gear and visit the fan shop at CSNChicago.com now. Tomorrow, the playoff push is on as our Sox wing their way up the West Coast for a weekend set with the M's. Join us at 8:30 for White Sox pregame live, presented by Orland Park Toyota. White Sox versus Mariners tomorrow night on CSN. Tomorrow, the Northsiders swing for the bleachers in a Game 2 tilt with Atlanta. But first, join us for Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto. Then, buckle up and let's get ready to rumble. Cubs Braves tomorrow at 2:30 on CSN.
You talk about one of the leaders in that clubhouse. It's David Ross, who is a world champion and understands the inner workings of the game of baseball, and he's kind enough to join us now on Kap Haugh on Comcast Sportsnet and WGN. Plus, Cubs and the Bravos back to work tonight. David, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Jim. How are we doing?
We're doing very well. You know, it's interesting to be around this team as I have been for almost 25 years, to see you come in here. You are one of the leaders in that clubhouse. There is no doubt about it. What is it like being the elder statesman with all these young kids coming in? No real expectations on the team, and now find yourself in a pennant race.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I am the older guy in the clubhouse. There's a bunch of youngsters in there. But, you know, I think that the season and expectations are what you make them. You know, I think these guys, I've seen these young guys handle a lot of adversity early on in their careers, whether it's expectations from who they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to play. And they've really handled it really professionally and went out and performed night in and night out. So, you know, I think our expectations are high in the clubhouse, actually. I think we expect a lot from one another. We hold each other accountable, and, you know, that's what good teams do, and it's a fun group to be a part of.
Outside of winning and doing team things, being able to go on the mound, throw a scoreless inning, and hitting a bomb, and having the Wrigley crowd go nuts for you, David. I mean, where does that rank personal accomplishment-wise in your career? Because that's pretty something.
Yeah, that's up there. I don't know. I didn't really like being out up there on that mound, but coming back up to the plate and having, you know, Wrigley Field chant your name is pretty special and a highlight of mine. I was trying to take that in while I was in the batter's box a little bit, and it was really, really special. It's a great environment there right now. it's turning in, if it wasn't already, to one of the most beautiful ballparks in the country or in the world. So a lot of history there, a lot of fun to be a part of, to be able to go to work in that place every day.
Better than Fenway?
I everybody keeps asking me that. They're different. They're different. Fenway, with the Green Monster and winning a championship, and that being the first place museum I got to go to, it's got a special place in my heart. But the new renovations with the scoreboard and what's coming with the locker room and all the new technology that they're coming, I told them somebody's going to ask me that question next year, because this year, with all the new stuff and all the construction, I think it's going to be a number one by next year.
And I don't want to put you in a bad spot here, but we've been debating it all day on the show here, the atmosphere at Wrigley. And for me, David, I want more. I want a little bit more of a playoff feel. I mean, can you kind of motivate the Cub fan how much it means to you guys? And do you feel like it's a playoff atmosphere, or are you kind of hoping that it maybe gets turned up a notch here?
Yeah, I think, you know what, I've seen the fans grow since I've been here. I remember coming here, and early on, I was just, the fans weren't into every pitch like I had been used to. Some other places I have been that are great baseball stadiums and great baseball fans. But I've seen as we win, their expectations are getting more. They're getting a little bit louder. They're starting to be into every pitch. But, that comes with winning. Expectations, we got to win, and they'll be into, rather than coming to the game and just, being entertained, they'll actually be into the game. And so I've seen it grow every night that we get, playing well and getting closer to a playoff spot. And definitely we're expecting that to grow a little more, but I've seen it grow throughout the year.
David, what does it mean to be a leader in the clubhouse? Because when you signed a 2-year deal, Theo and Jed talked about, look, he's going to be one of our leaders in that clubhouse. We're going to have a really young team. And I asked Chris Bryant, who's the leader in here? He goes, we got a few, but he goes, David Ross is right at the top of the list. What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it just comes with being the old guy. I try to be the same guy every day, and I have a lot of experiences, good and bad, from my career that I'm able to pull from and talk to some of the younger guys when they mess up or do well and say, hey, that's winning baseball, or that's not winning baseball, or hey, we need to take the extra base right here. Or like last night with I talked to Addy after the game that there's a ball in the hole that Rajai Davis hit first and second with a man on with the pitcher that we had walked on first. And he had a ball in the hole and tried to throw a fast Rajai Davis at first. It may have been a smarter play to try to get the pitcher at second. Knowing your base runners, kind of being a step ahead. I don't know, little things like that. When I talk to pitchers about, maybe a 4-seam fastball over a 2-seam fastball, it carries a little bit of weight because of, my background and some of the things that I've been able to accomplish in my career and some of the great pitchers I've been able to catch. I think it just carries a little more weight. So I think being a leader is setting the example. When I play, I can't ask guys to play hard, give it all they got, give it all they got if I don't do that. So I think a lot goes into that. I don't try to be a leader. I try to just be me and go out and do the best I can on a nightly basis, whether it's cheer the guys on or play as hard as I can when I'm in there.
We're talking to Cubs catcher David Ross. Cubs and Braves tonight. Jake Arrieta goes to the bump. Last night, John Lester did not have his best stuff. He's been throwing the heck out of the ball. That's a really good hitting Tiger team. They don't pitch as well as they need to, but boy, they can hit. What was the problem last night? Just location or just one of those days?
You know what? I thought, me and John talked after the game, I thought that was some of his better stuff. He actually was throwing the ball pretty decent. I don't know if it was that, whether it's just a really good hitting team or just an off night. But, one of those nights where you're like, I really couldn't explain anything after the game. If we threw ball one, it seemed like they hit a ball in the gap next pitch. When we didn't get ahead of the hitter, these guys were right on every second, third pitch. It wasn't a whole lot of deep count. So those guys could swing the bat. I'm glad they're out of town. We've been playing really good baseball lately until the Tigers came in, and sometimes there's nights when you don't hit, and there's sometimes nights when you don't pitch. Last night we just didn't pitch real well.
How did you? My bad. How did you build that connection with John Lester, where you became basically a guy that he just wants on whatever team he's with? I mean, I see Lester being a super intense guy, and I see the way you fire the ball back to him. There's like an intensity in that. Somehow, some way, you guys have built something. I'm just curious how that happened.
I don't know. I think it's just over experiences. I had some success with him when I got to Boston and catching, and he kind of got on a roll. I think what I do I know John really well, and I know his personality. We have similar personalities, but I think my experiences, my age, help me rein in my emotions. Sometimes I have to help him do that, rein in his emotions a little bit, and keep him focused on the task in hand. I think he's like a big brother, a little brother to me. You know, he's one of the. I kind of take it that way. So sometimes when I feel like he's not giving his best, I fire that ball back to him and let him know, hey, I need better than that. And so we have that kind of brotherly relationship, family relationship that we don't get our feelings hurt. We talk to each other. We're honest with each other. And I think he respects that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it if he doesn't do well, or I don't care if he has a good outing or not. If his stuff isn't sharp, I'm going to let him know. Have you ever made him laugh? Maybe a couple times. We laugh when we're not playing. We're both pretty serious. One thing I wish I was better at and personality-wise is being able to joke around a little bit more while I play. When I play, I'm too serious sometimes. So we joke around a lot off the field, but we're pretty intense out there on the field.
Do you think the media make more of his lack of throwing over to first than needs be, or no, it's something that we're working on?
Yeah, for sure. It's something that we're working on. I think our flaws, big or small, they get heightened in certain environments, and obviously it's getting a lot of attention right now. I think when it's not getting attention, it's not a big deal. But, like last night, the Tigers, it just depends on what team you're playing and if they're gonna take that route of trying to exploit weaknesses. We all have them, some good, some bad, but, they don't get exposed all the time. His is starting to get exposed, something that he needs to work on, and he's working on it. A credit to him. He does a lot of things well, and he has one chink in his armor that he needs to get better at, and it's a huge deal. I think that comes a lot with contract and expectations of who you are. The bottom line is, are we winning the game? That for me, that's the bottom line. I know it's only going to get, I talk to him about, if you're going to take this organization where you want to take it, we have to clean up every area, and so he's working on it.
Now, having been around this thing a long time, Cub fans are always the kind that sit on the edge of their seat. I think the Red Sox fans probably were like this before they finally won, where now something bad's going to happen. We just know it's not going to end right. How do you play through that pressure, get the young kids to relax? We had Dusty Baker on yesterday. He said, there's nothing wrong with being nervous. Just don't be afraid. And I thought that was a pretty apropos quote.
That's 100% right. I can deal with. I'm nervous every time I step out on that field, but I'm not scared. I can't. If you're scared and the other team feels it, you're going to get beat. Yep. Period. And he hit that right on the head. If you go in with being timid and not giving it 100%, look, I think we can all deal with mistakes. We've actually made a lot of mistakes this year and have come out ahead at the end of the game because we keep fighting and keep grinding. When you're scared, you don't make aggressive mistakes. The other night Schwarber tried to read the ball in the dirt and got thrown out a second in a big situation. But you know what? That's an aggressive mistake. I can deal with that. When you make aggressive mistakes, you learn from them. My first grader, I asked him a couple of days ago, what'd you learn the first day of school? He said, it's okay to make mistakes because that's how we learn. And I said, you need to teach Dad that a lot.
Yeah.
Because we forget that sometimes. So as long as everybody's going 100%, giving it their all, we can live with whatever consequences or mistakes happen.
I want to make one tweak on it. I think you guys feel the fear, but you ride it, right? You use it as excitement. It propels you. You don't get stopped by it. Does that make sense?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't look at it like that as much, but every guy we have is different. Some guys, try harder. Some guys, they'll slow the game down a little bit. I tell you, Dexter Fowler is the one that's really got the game slowed down right now for us. He's having great at-bats. He's getting walks. He's getting hits. He's taking the extra base. Him and Kyle Schwarber, the top of our lineup, have really had, put us in another level as far as our lineup. So these guys are feeding off a lot of excitement and adrenaline. And, yeah, when things go bad, you got to keep fighting. The one thing I like about the last two nights is most teams I would have been on would have quit. They would have given up, and we end up scoring 6 or 7, a couple nights in a row, and keep having good at bats. So, some nights you're not going to pitch. We didn't hit early on for a little while. Sometimes you're not going to have good nights pitching, and that's going to happen. But it's as long as you stay consistent and keep having good at bats, we'll be okay.
By the way, you're coming up on an anniversary of your first career home run. Do you remember when it was?
I don't remember the date. It had to be in September sometime.
September 2nd, 2002. Who'd you hit it off of?
Mark Grace.
Yeah, exactly right. 18-0 score.
I keep thinking that's going to come back to haunt me. I've been on the mound twice now. I know some rookie's going to get in there and take me deep if they keep putting me out there. So I'm trying to stay off that bump.
What do you think of the rookie catcher / outfielder Kyle Schwarber's long-term potential behind the plate, David?
I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he's got the mentality for a catcher. I think he's a great worker, hard worker. He's getting better at catching. I think the main thing that he needs is experience. His catching skills are fine. There's nothing wrong with his catching skills. But in-game management, little things of like hitters setting up the pitcher and getting the most out of your pitcher and working the umpire and managing the game where, we can give up 1 here, but let's not give up 2. The little things of calling the game and managing the game and managing the lineup, that's the stuff that he's got to get better at. And the only way to do that is experience.
All right, before we let you go, if they're playing a football game to go to the national title game and it's Auburn against Florida, you played at both. Who are you rooting for?
Auburn.
Auburn Tigers, huh?
Auburn, yeah, War Eagle. War Eagle, baby.
So my wife and I, we had a son that played college football. He now graduated, so we want to go to 1 or 2 cool games every year. So I just bought tickets to go to Georgia, Florida, world's largest cocktail party in Jacksonville.
That's going to be a good one. Nice, good.
And then everyone's telling me that I need to go. Joe Girardi went last year with his son. He goes, you've got to go see Alabama-Auburn, the Iron Bowl. It's sick. Which is a better one?
Auburn, Alabama it's just so deeply rooted. There's only 2 great universities really in Alabama, and if you're in Alabama, you're either Auburn or Alabama. There's no other. It's just like there's UAB and Samford and all these other small schools, but you're either Auburn or Alabama, and this makes or breaks families sometimes. So it's a great rivalry. It's in these small towns in Alabama that bring in 100,000 people for the football weekend and gets to be the second largest city in all of Alabama behind Birmingham. So it's an exciting event. It's intense. It's a lot of fun. I really like it. And if you go to the world's largest cocktail party, just make sure you got a driver to get you home.
Oh yeah, I'm staying right on the water there at the Hyatt.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yep, there.
You're perfect. You're perfect. Come see me afterwards. I'm only about 2 hours away in Tallahassee.
So maybe we can play golf.
There we go. I'm up for it.
Hey David, if you guys get in, you getting the feeling that you can make a deep run?
I think so. With our pitching staff, I think when you got guys like John and Jake at the top of your rotation, a lot can happen. I feel like pitching and defense is key in the playoffs. We got to know the game. We're growing as a team. We're constantly getting better. So the team that we were in spring training in the first month of the year, obviously we've grown a lot. We still have to get better at a lot of small details of the game, but for sure, I think with our pitching staff, anything can happen.
I appreciate you taking time. If I call you to do an interview 10 years from now, are you a major league manager?
I hope so. Actually, yeah, I hope so. That would be.
I think you'd be awesome. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you at the park tonight.
All right, y'all take it easy. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. See you. There he is, David Ross. He's one of my favorite players. I mean, the guy is phenomenal to deal with.
I loved that interview. He's awesome. He already has the manager seat position down. When they show the dugout, he's just kind of sitting there and he's looking out. I'm like, are you the manager of the team? Because you look like the manager of the team. Not that I want to replace Joe Madden.
The guy is phenomenal, and it's funny because I'll have a couple buddies that might be like, he's hitting whatever he's hitting, $190 or 200, whatever it is. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how smart he is about the game, how much he's in control in there. That guy is such a huge addition to this club.
You see how he fires the ball back at Lester?
Let's go!
I want more. Yeah. I love that.
It's great.
For 7 years, I was an iron worker here in Chicago until I fell and lost the use of my limbs. The construction company tried to blame me. They said the accident was my fault. But Cliff Horowitz knew the truth, and he proved it in court. I wound up winning a $64 million verdict, the largest in Illinois history. Some people say all lawyers are the same. They're wrong. Cliff Horowitz got my family the whole justice we deserve.
Horowitz and Associates. We fight for working people.
Cliff Horowitz fights for working.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Hi, gang. Boogie here. It's time for our all-out savings blitz.
Come on. We've taken our all-pro lineup. And we've sacked the prices. You'll go big with the Poogie Pipe.
Get a new Hyundai Santa Fe with 0% financing for 60 months or $1,500 to $2,250 cash back. Hit the Boogie price and save.
Catch your winning deal today.
Buying a new car from Boogie can be a
beautiful thing, Grandpa. Boogie, boogie.
Comcast Sportsnet, your home for Chicago Cubs baseball. Hey fans, do you have a favorite home field memory? Comcast Sportsnet wants to share it. Go to csnchicago.com/homefieldmemories and submit your story now.
You were here for quite a while. You saw the 98 playoffs. You saw the 03 playoffs, the 04 train wreck, and then you left. It's different around here because of Joe Madden, Theo, Jet. It's just the support system is so much stronger.
Yeah, my impression, Dave, when I was here was that the Cubs were always beholden to the TV ratings. They were worried if they totally disassembled the product, people wouldn't watch. And the joke was fans in Chicago were so passionate around the country about that team, you could put Arnie Harris's toupee on the screen and people would watch it, you know, 24/7. And I mean that with all due respect. So I really admire what the Ricketts family has done and what Theo has done in that, number one, they've had the courage of their convictions. They knew that they had to build a solid foundation, and they tore it down to the foundation, to the studs, and they've rebuilt this thing from the ground up. That takes time. The difficult part for Cubs fans is when you haven't won a world championship in 107 years, you can't say to our fans, well, give us 5 more years. We've got a plan. They've heard all that before. There were some lean years here in Chicago, as you guys well know, for the last several. Brutal. But now you're starting to see the fruits of those labors come to the forefront. And that's great. It's good for baseball. When the Cubs are good, Major League Baseball is good. And I think the Cubs' time is really going to be next year. But if they get in, they have enough weapons to make things really, really tough. And I think if you asked every single Cub fan who's listening right now, you would say, well, was that wait worth it right now? I think every single one of them would say yes.
Because they see the future set up.
Exactly
right. Like 98, there was Gary Gaetti and these old guys.
Yeah.
07, 08, let's spend all the way into oblivion, and it didn't work out. 03, it was unsustainable.
Right.
This is sustainable.
And that's our problem in Atlanta, or was our problem in Atlanta under the previous regime. We had guys that were good players, but were they cornerstones for your franchise? And are you going to spend yourself into a financial Grand Canyon that you may never be able to dig out? The Braves don't have the resources that they have here in Chicago with Wrigley Field and sellout crowds and a big TV market and big TV contract. They have to be much more judicious in the way they spend their money. And hopefully, as I said, when the new ballpark comes online, we'll be able to compete on those same playing fields as the Cubs and the Yankees, Dodgers, and Cardinals.
Had to be unbelievable for you in your career to come here, replace your grandfather, that experience. I mean, that's just unbelievable. You also had an opportunity to work with one of the all-time greats in Ron Santo. I'm just curious if you could just share some Santo story, because I know you got a billion of them, and everybody misses Ronnie.
Most of them I can't sell because this is probably a family show. Ronnie was an amazing guy. Nobody bled Cubby Blue more than Ron Santo. He cared. He was passionate. We called him the coach because he would be banging on the table when things weren't going well because it frustrated him so badly because he cared so deeply. And for those of us who knew we had no control over the game, we would just have to say, Ron, have a glass of wine, sit down, relax, take a breath. It's going to be okay. Ronnie was, I'll tell you one quick story. We used to poke fun at Ronnie all the time, and he actually said to Steve and me, look, I really love this because you keep me alive. You really do. Ronnie was a guy that was so trusting. Fans would bring food to the ballpark. He'd eat anything. It didn't matter. It could have come from Charles Manson. Hey, it's a candy bar. I'm going to eat it. All right. So this fan sends Ronnie a Whitman sampler, a sugar-free Whitman sampler. He'd never seen one before. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. Hey, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm going to have one of these Whitman samplers in the fourth inning. So he gets up and leaves the booth. Well, I, of course, see this. I walk into the booth. He's got the thing unwrapped. I open the box. And I take a bite out of each piece of candy and stick it back in the box and shut the box. Okay, don't tell anybody. So Arnie Harris is directing the game. I said, Arnie, shoot the radio booth in the fourth inning. Why, kid? Just do it. So he shoots the booth, and Ronnie's, as we remember, talking with his hands, telling Pat Hughes, hey, I got the candy. And he's telling Matt Bolts, I got the candy. I'm going to open it. So he lifts the lid of the candy jar, or candy box, and he pulls the wrapper away, and he's all excited. He goes in and he looks, and he sees every piece of candy is half eaten. He literally flipped his wig. I mean, he lost it. We're on the ground crying as we come back from break. And those are the kinds of pranks that we did with
I think he told you were number one.
All the time. We got that on tape, too, once. That's why we loved him.
Chip Caray's in our studio. When you were here, we had Dusty on yesterday, and he talked about 03. He said nobody expected anything, and then it just kind of happened. He goes, it was really hard, 4, 5, 6. What do you remember about that 4-year run, well, you weren't here 5 and 6, but 3 and 4.
03 and 4. 03 was a lot of fun. Really good team, really good guys. You had Pryor, you had Wood, you had Zambrano, who I thought should have been the best of the three, by the way, and wasn't. It was really fun. And my grandfather and others said, if the Cubs ever win, it'll be the most unbelievable ride that you've ever seen. And it was. It was kind of like 98 with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. It was a carnival. It was like traveling with the Rolling Stones. It was something you really couldn't quantify. It was just electric. Every day you couldn't wait to get to the ballpark because you knew something great was going to happen, that your team was going to end up winning. They got Aramis Ramirez in that big trade while we were in Atlanta, which was huge for Jim Hendry. And as you said, the burden of expectations in 04, I think, was really, really difficult. Guys got hurt. All of a sudden, performances slipped. The expectations, the burdens, all the celebrity that came with being the team to beat instead of being one of the hunters, I think, got to the club. And for Dusty, who I'm great with, by the way, I'm sure it was a very difficult thing because the old "In Dusty We Trusty" T-shirts, all of a sudden he went from a genius to an idiot in 1 year, and that's totally unfair. But he managed in Southern California. He was with the Giants. Nobody paid much attention to the Giants. West Coast, laid back. Here, people followed you to breakfast and wondered what you ate, and then would call the talk shows to talk about, well, Corey Patterson's eating too much oatmeal. He's too bound up. That's why he can't play. I mean,
too many carbs.
It's that kind of manic attention that I don't think any of us handled particularly well. So would you say then, everything you saw, that it maybe takes a stronger player to play in Chicago because of the history? And once they start winning and there's expectations, it's just a different animal. I think it has to be a mature player because of all the temptations this city offers with all the day games. I don't know how many night games the Cubs are playing now. I know it's a lot more. It's a lot more than it used to be. But I think it takes a much more mature player to handle that. Number one, you're going to get paid. Number two, there's going to be a lot of attention. Number three, there's a lot of passion. But number four, with that comes a lot of responsibility. You've got to be able to go out with your family, have a nice dinner, and get to bed because you got to get to the ballpark for a day game after a night game, or consecutive day games, and then all the travel that goes along with that, the cold weather, the winds, all the uncontrollable things that take place. So I don't know if it's necessarily a stronger, tougher player, but I think it has to be a player who understands that being a Cub is a privilege, but it's also a great responsibility because this is a unique situation. It is unlike anything else around Major League Baseball.
Lou Piniella was on the other other day as well. It's kind of ex-Cub manager week on the show. And Lou said, I wish I'd have handled 08 differently than I did a little bit. But he said, I know now how I should have handled it. I didn't know then. He said, it's just a different animal than the New York Yankees.
Right. It is, because I going to Atlanta, the difference from the time when I left the Cubs, and I'm not saying I know anything about what the Cubs mindset organizationally is now, but back then I always felt with the Cubs it was like we're always on the razor's edge of success or disaster.
Right.
Okay. And going to Atlanta, it was always, we'll figure it out. We're going to win. And that's just coming from a broadcaster's perspective. They're going to figure out what to do. They're going to make the right move that is going to help them win games, whether it's adding Fred McGriff, Kyle Farnsworth, Todd Hollandsworth, Jose Hernandez, Aramis Ramirez here. I mean, those kinds of things happened on a yearly basis with the Atlanta Braves. Of course, they had the big three, Smoltz, Maddox, and Glavine to start with, and that's a great foundation. The Cubs thought they had that here, and then those guys got hurt. Atlanta's didn't, and I think that's one of the key differences in the two organizations.
Kap Haugh brought to you by Horwitz and Associates, Illinois' top personal injury lawyers. Largest verdict for a brain, back, and neck injury, all in the history of the state of Illinois. All won by the Horwitz and Associates firm. Cliff Horwitz, undefeated since 1995. That makes them the triple crown of lawyering. They're like Secretariat. All they do is win.
Kap Haugh on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Horwitz and Associates, Illinois' top personal injury lawyers.
For 7 years, I was an iron worker here in Chicago until I fell and lost the use of my limbs. The construction company tried to blame me. They said the accident was my fault. But Cliff Horwitz knew the truth, and he proved it in court. I wound up winning a $64 million verdict, the largest in Illinois history. Some people say all lawyers are the same. They're wrong. Cliff Horwitz got my family the whole justice we deserve.
Horwitz and Associates. We fight for working people.
Cliff Horwitz fights for working people.
Come one, come all, during our three-ring circus of savings at Arlington Acura. It's that kind of summer event.
Right now, get 0% APR for 60 months on all new Acura models, or lease a brand new 2015 Acura TLX for only $199 a month.
Be sure to see us before you buy.
Bob Rohrman.
Bob Rohrman, Arlington Acura in Palatine, just west of Route 53 on Dundee Road.
Tomorrow, the playoff push is on as our Sox wing their way up the West Coast for a weekend set with the M's. Join us at 8:30 for White Sox pregame live, presented by Orland Park Toyota. White Sox versus Mariners tomorrow night on CSN.
Sportsnet Central every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight.
Okay, Sox fans, you know that Comcast Sportsnet's your home for the most games in town. So step up to the plate and follow the good guys on CSNChicago.com's White Sox page. Insider Dan Hayes combs through the clubhouse to bring you closer to the silver and black than ever before. And on game day, visit our White Sox Pulse page for the biggest stories, stats, and social. Or share your passion with other fans by using the hashtag White Sox Talk. Stay close to your Sox at CSNChicago.com. Brought to you by The Great Escape.
Chip Caray's in the studio. So what's the greatest call in the history of your career? Is it Sammy, like number 62? Is it Kerry Wood, 20 strikeout, or something else?
That's not for me to say.
The one you enjoyed the most?
I don't really go back and listen to him, to be honest with you. Maybe I should, but no, I don't really think about it that way. I will tell you that. From a personal standpoint, a couple of those calls were great because of what they meant to me. Mm-hmm. Sammy's home run, or McGuire's home run in St. Louis, watching Jack Buck stand and applaud and tears rolling down his cheeks was great growing up in St. Louis. Huge Cardinal fan as a kid. The 20 strikeout game in my first year was, unbelievable, watching that one. I'm sure I had a few malaprops in there too. I'm not trying to evade you, but I guess off the top of my head, those would be two of the ones that were the most enjoyable.
Coolest moment of your Cubs time here for the team that you remember, you go, that was awesome.
Yeah, Kerry Wood. For opening day against the Expos, when first game back in Chicago after my father died, our grandfather died. Excuse me. First game with Steve Stone in Miami. We had one production meeting in our 7 years together, and that was on the drive to the ballpark. He said, how's this going to work? Because for all those years, he was basically Harry's understudy. And I said, real simple. I'm going to say what happens. You're going to tell me why. He said, okay. So we finished the game, and I'm scared to death. I don't know. I'm thrown to the wolves, in essence, here. Steve Stone, in his usual Steve Stone way, takes his headphones off and throws them on the counter and goes, well, that was unbelievable. And I'm thinking, oh God, I've done something.
He's mad.
He's
going
mad.
To the bosses.
He's going to the bosses. I'm out. I'm going to be, flipping hamburgers at Whataburger or something, after the series is over. He reaches over and shakes his hand. He said, thank you. For the first time in 17 years, I feel like I have a partner and I'm not just somebody's support. And he meant that with no disrespect to my grandfather. And so that was an incredible compliment that I'll never forget. So that moment, those personal moments were so much more important than the on-air ones.
Now Stoney has Hawk.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I've trained him, I think. I hope.
Have you ever had a meal with someone who's more finicky and has weirder requests and there's something I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, bread. I want the ends of the breads. I want no cream, no milk, no butter, no none of. Yeah. He's. But you know what? Yeah, Stoney. I will say this about Steve. I can see why people have their opinions about Steve, but I think at the heart of Steve, he really cares. He cares about the people he works with. He cares about the product. He cares about the game deeply. He cares about his legacy in Chicago. And those comments I made about him and my grandfather, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. He was incredibly gracious to my grandfather, and it was kind of like a father-son relationship. In many ways, Steve said Harry was like the father who couldn't be with him in Chicago. He learned a lot about broadcasting, learned about a lot about life, learned a lot about this city in working with Harry. And for me, he helped pass along some of those lessons too, and I'll forever be grateful to him. He's a brilliant person, and I think that's why people sometimes are rubbed the wrong way. And I mean this very respectfully for Steve. He's so smart, he can't help telling people how smart he is, and I think people get weirded out by that, if that makes sense. And he's a brilliant broadcaster. I think he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, in my opinion. The Cubs fans were lucky to have him the time he was in Chicago on the north side, and the Sox fans, I know, appreciate and love him too. And he and Hawk, for all of their great personality differences, they do make a very interesting, great team.
Dusty was on yesterday. Mark asked him about Sammy.
Yeah.
Should he apologize because he wants to be back in some role with the organization, ambassador, whatever. He wants to get a gig.
Mm-hmm.
And Dusty said, no, he should not apologize. He said he's got to live with whatever he did in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, an apology could be very hollow. I apologize so I can get a gig. He said, no, the guy thrilled a lot of people for a decade, made a ton of money for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If you want him back, you bring him back. If you don't want him back, then don't bring him back. But he doesn't think an apology is necessary. Do you?
I think that's between Sammy and the Cubs, and whatever he wants to do or the Cubs want to do, it's between the two of them. I admired Sammy's stuff as a player. I think all of us have suspicions. That's really all they are. Nothing's been proven. You're right. Sammy made a lot of people a lot of money. Sammy was the star of the show on WGN for a long, long time. He was the reason people came to the ballpark for some teams that were really, really bad. But my personal belief is if you demand an apology from someone, it means very little. If they offer it, as you said, wholeheartedly and sincerely, and they want to come back because they want to mend some fences, I'm all for that.
And that's a great way of looking at it, I think. I mean, from the Cubs standpoint, they basically should have it made up in their mind. Either we're going to do it or we're not, and we're going to do it. Maybe they'll say, well, you know what, in 2 years we want to have a Sammy Day. And then if he does come forward, then great. If they don't want to do it, then don't.
Right. And, we can all hold grudges. Right?
Yeah.
What does that do? All that does is poison the well for everybody. You cannot deny the fact that for a period of time, Sammy Sosa was the best player on the Chicago Cubs, despite whatever character or personality flaws that people perceived him to have. At the end of the day, he came to the ballpark ready to play hard every single day. And for the fans, I would think that's the most they can expect of any player. They're not going to go 4 for 4 every day, but they can go 4 for 4 in effort, and Sammy did most of the time.
Did his exit, the fact the last day that he left early and all that nonsense and then got traded to Baltimore, that bother you at all? Does he owe an apology for that, which he actually gave when I did a sit-down with him in Florida a couple of years ago? Look, it is what it is. It happened.
Does that override what he did?
No.
I mean, was it a stupid decision? Yeah. Was it dumb to lie about it? Of course. The cover-up's always worse than the lie.
End of the day, the season was over, right?
Well, yes, but you know what? if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. I mean, you don't leave your teammates, all that kind of stuff. I get that. And if you apologize, you apologize for it. And if people are going to use that as an excuse, I think that's just as petty as him leaving on that, day of the season, I think.
And he probably should be back. He did so much as a Cub player. You walk into that stadium tonight, and you haven't been there since last year. You would never know Sammy Sosa played there.
Right.
And that's sad.
That's an organizational decision. All I can speak of is from my personal perspective. Sammy was always a pro. We had our disagreements. We had some things that happened between us that'll stay private that I wasn't really happy with the way they were handled, but we shook hands and we're good. He was always tremendous with my family, with my kids. He always took time to sign a ball for my daughter, who was, I think, 1 year old when I got the Cubs job. So those are the things that I value a lot more than whether he left a game early or whether he, was accused of doing stuff that he shouldn't have done. He was, if you were genuine with him, he was genuine back.
What are you expecting to see from the ballpark tonight?
I've heard it's awesome. I've heard it's awesome. I've heard it's really great. Look, there are traditionalists who say Wrigley Field can't change out. You've got to. You have to. You have to move into the 21st century. If you're not going to build a new ballpark, make the best of what I think is still the best ballpark in baseball. I'm not that traditional. I think video boards and scoreboards and things. Baseball, as Stoney has said for years, is in the economic fight for every single dollar it can get. And if a video board is going to entertain a kid and get him turned on to the game and want to come back because they have a sailboat race on Lake Michigan or whatever the heck is on the board, I'm all for it. Bring it on, as long as the music's not too loud. That's where I draw the line.
If along those lines, if Rob Maverick came to Chip Caray and was like, "Hey, give me one suggestion what we should do with the game." I mean, they've tried to speed it up a little bit. What would you say?
To speed up the game,
or just
any
way to
number one suggestion to fix baseball or help baseball?
Well, I can't do it in one, but I do a couple things. One, no DH. DH is a joke. It's not baseball. Rule book, rule one. Baseball is a game of two players with 9 players, 2 teams with 9 players each. By definition, a DH is a 10th player, so whatever they're playing in that league is not baseball. Number 2, I would realign. I would change some of the baseball demographics to create new rivalries. You could have the Northeastern Division, Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Orioles. You could have the Southeast Division, Braves, Astros, Marlins, Tampa Bay. Just to change it up, I would do away with interleague play for a year, just to see if baseball really, really, really needs it. Do the fans really miss it? It's great for the Cubs and White Sox. It's great for the Yankees and Mets, but Atlanta, our natural rival's Boston. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, that's great, but we don't have a natural geographic rival. Thirdly, I would change the number of games within the division. Get rid of the balanced schedule. I don't need 19 times to know whether I'm better than the Phillies or the Mets or the Marlins or the Pirates, for example.
Right.
Fewer games within your division, more games against the other league. If you're going to have interleague play, make it more like an NBA schedule where you play every team at least once a year. That makes the schedule much more fair. One year Seattle comes to Chicago. The next year the Cubs go to Seattle. You introduce your fans to the other stars on the other teams in the other league. You don't go 6 years without seeing Mike Trout in your ballpark. You get him every other year, which I think creates more interest. That is if you're tied to interleague play. So in a nutshell, those are just a couple.
What if they said we're going to add the DH to the National League and we're going to have it in both so we have the same baseball? That would bother you.
It would bother me.
I'll go to war with you.
It's not baseball.
It's not baseball. Pitchers hit, period.
Nick Swisher had a great point. We just got him from Cleveland. He said, he's a DH first baseman in the American League. He said, my God, this is the first time he's been in the National League. He said, this is unbelievable. I said, what do you mean? He said, the game moves fast, and you're a DH. You swing the bat and you wait 3 innings and you're in the game again, but here you got pitching changes. You got to be ready for a double switch. You might come in the 5th inning, 7th inning. I said, exactly. You're pinch hitting as a DH, you're pinch hitting 4 times. Here it's once. You get one crack to impact the game in the National League as a guy off the bench. That's not the way it is in the American League because the pitcher just goes out there, gives up his 6 runs, gets a quality start, and hits the showers, and then you turn it over the bullpens and see who bats last. It's not baseball. There's no strategy. There's no inherent thought process other than when do you take your pitcher out? Well, Dave, you could do that. I mean, with all due respect to those managers, you could.
You're right.
How should you choose a lawyer? Find the guy who wins. I'm Cliff Horwitz, and I've won the largest personal injury verdict in Illinois history. The largest. I've won the largest jury verdict for a back injury, the largest jury verdict for a brain injury, and the largest jury verdict for a neck injury. In fact, I've won every single case I've tried over the last 20 years. If you or someone you know has been seriously injured, call me, Cliff Horwitz at Horwitz & Associates. I'll get you the full justice you
Light up your home with LED light bulbs from Sylvania and Menards. Right now, they're all on sale. These general-purpose LED bulbs replace a 60-watt incandescent, $5.99. This 9-watt LED bulb replaces a 65-watt BR30 incandescent, $9.99. Protect your family with surveillance cameras from First Alert. This indoor-outdoor digital system features motion sensing technology. Plus, the full-color 7-inch LCD monitor allows you to watch 4 different camera channels at once. $199.
Save big money at Menards.
It's a big world out there. So why do some cashback cards limit where you can earn bonus cashback? 1 month, it's only a few places over here. The next, it's only a few places over there. What you need is the Quicksilver card from Capital One. Quicksilver gives you unlimited 1.5% cashback on every purchase everywhere. Can your card say that? What's in your wallet?
With original Duck brand duct tape, sticky is only half the story. Be duckstinctive. Duckorate. Be duckalicious. Duck to the rescue. Celebrate any duckcation, whether you're being creative or keeping it all together. Get the duck to do it.
Now available in exciting new prints.
Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Weeknights on Comcast Sportsnet. Kap Haugh on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Horwitz & Associates, Illinois' top personal injury lawyers.
For 7 years, I was an iron worker here in Chicago until I fell and lost the use of my limbs. The construction company tried to blame me. They said the accident was my fault. But Cliff Horowitz knew the truth, and he proved it in court. I wound up winning a $64 million verdict, the largest in Illinois history. Some people say all lawyers are the same. They're wrong. Cliff Horowitz got my family the whole justice we deserve.
Horwitz & Associates. We fight for working people.
Cliff Horowitz fights for working people.
Tomorrow, the Northsiders swing for the bleachers in a Game 2 tilt with Atlanta. But first, join us for Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto. Then, buckle up and let's get ready to rumble. Cubs Braves tomorrow at 2:30 on CSN.
Are you stressed out over debt? Unsure of what to do? I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. At Geraci Law, we help you file Chapter 7 or 13 bankruptcy and take your debt stress away. Our clients feel much better after we help them, and you can too. If you're stressed over debt, faced with foreclosure, lawsuits, bill collectors, call or click now.
If you're worried about debt, call now to see if you qualify. 1-800-401-4010.
It's the greatest sale on earth of Roarman's Oakbrook Toyota in Westmont. 3-ring circus of savings. Intense selection and intense savings.
During Toyota's annual clearance event, lease a brand new 2015 Toyota Camry SE for only $189 a month.
Bob Roarman. Bob Roarman's Oakbrook Toyota in Westmont. Only 5 minutes west of the Tri-State on Ogden Avenue.
Comcast Sportsnet, your home for Chicago Cubs baseball.
I'm Gordon Beckham, and you're watching the home of White Sox baseball, CSN Chicago.
Drilled to deep right. It is gone!
The Cubs blast their way back into the win column. Hey everyone, I'm Ayanna Crystal. Welcome to Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR. Jake Arrieta turns in another elite outing, and forget the wild card. The righty has a message for the rest of the NL Central.
We still think we can win our division.
And with the White Sox looking to avoid a 4-game sweep, Rick Hahn faces questions on the future of Robin Ventura.
Hello, going as Logan.
But will the Bears D be able to change theirs against the Colts QB? Ready for our close-up and making all the right moves on Sportsnet Central right now.
To Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR.
He's among the elite pitchers in the National League, probably in baseball. And beyond that, when it comes to awards at the end of the year, he has to be considered strongly.
Jake Arrieta making his case for NL Cy Young candidate with 11 straight quality starts. And Thursday night, the Cubs needed him to play the role of stopper. And opposite Arrieta, Illinois native Mike Folenovich. And in the bottom half of the third, his manager not so happy with the strike zone. Freddie Gonzalez ejected by the home plate for arguing balls and strikes. But on his way out, Gonzalez made sure to say hello to his former Marlins player, Chris Coghlan. However, Cogs wouldn't be as kind because on the very next pitch, the Cubs second baseman Coghlan lines a shot to right. That plays Addison Russell on the RBI single, so the Cubs strike first. Next to a board for Anthony Rizzo.
Grounded deep right. It is gone! A three-run homer for Rizzo.
Rizzo doing some damage. The 24th round tripper for Rizzo this season. Cubs up 4-0 after 3 in the fourth inning. Cubs young batters keeping up the hit parade. Russell, he deposits a solo homer into the left field bleachers. His first home run since August 2nd. So the Cubs, they're up big, 5-0 to the fifth. More from the man called Cox with Kyle Schwarber at first. Coghlan laces this one down the first base line, and Schwarber racing around to score. Coghlan safe at third with an RBI triple. So the Cubs lead now by 6. Meanwhile, Jake Arrieta had all the support he needed. The Cubs righty through 6 innings of scoreless ball, racking up 7 strikeouts in the process. So 12 straight quality starts for Arrieta. Cubs shake off that 3-game losing streak. They win this one, 7-1. So taking a closer look at Arrieta's 12 straight quality starts, he's 9-1 with a minuscule 1.26 ERA. The righty has allowed just 50 hits, and opponents are hitting 167. Now, Arrieta has hit as many home runs as he's allowed over that span, but he's far from satisfied.
I don't like to harp on quality starts. You know, I wasn't really thrilled with 6 innings. I would have liked, you know, to get a little deeper. There were some opportunities for me to shorten some at bats. You know, on the flip side though, these guys, you know, they fought off some tough pitches. You know, in most situations, I wouldn't have done anything differently. We want to preserve the pen and keep them fresh for the stretch we're fixing to endure. But, you know, I think that's always the mindset, is to go out there and have a quality outing.
We'll have more on the Cubs' righty-turned-ace on the way, and why Arrieta is still thinking NL Central title, and why he believes the Cubs can get there later in Sportsnet Central. So the Giants 3 games behind the Cubs entering the night, and they had former Southsider Jake Peavy on the mound in Pittsburgh. It's 2-0 Bucks in the 6th with the man aboard, and Neil Walker takes Peavy deep to right field. And that's good for a 2-run bomb. Walker's 13th homer makes it 4-zip Pirates. Then later in the inning, Francisco Cervelli hits a soft grounder to first, and Peavy hustles over to cover the bag. Takes a little bit of a tumble, but that's all right. He gets out anyway. Peavy was able to tag first with his glove as he was falling. Not the most graceful, but he gets the job done. Well, the Giants, they weren't so graceful. They lose this one 4-0. Nationals fading fast, taking on the Rockies. 2-zip hosts in the 7th, but not for long. Michael Taylor gets a hold of this one, and that's deep and gone to left center. The game is tied on Taylor's 11th long ball of the year. Same score, bottom half. Couple men on for Ben Paulsen, and he rips an RBI single up the middle. So the Rockies, they're back in front, 3-2. Let's go to the top of the 9th. Taylor up again, and he strikes out swinging to end it. So the Rockies hang on. 3-2 is the final. So the Cubs now 4 games up on the Giants, and they remain 4 games behind the Pirates, the Nats, D-backs, and Padres, all with plenty of work to do. Now to this developing story, USA Today is reporting that Kenny Williams could be enticed to leave his role as president of the White Sox for a front office job with Toronto, Seattle, or possibly Philadelphia. On Thursday, Williams emailed the Tribune to respond to the rumors, saying, quote, "The only thing in my future is a 9:05 game against the Angels in Anaheim and the start of 10 straight wins and a playoff spot," end quote. And Rick Hahn was asked about Robin Ventura's status with the team before the game and said, quote, "Look, I think we're all disappointed, Robin included, about where we sit right now." Hahn also said anything in terms of personnel changes, player, staff, coaches, front office, whatever, will wait for the offseason. Well, as for the game that Kenny was referring to, the Sox, they're trying to avoid a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Angels, and Adam Mean gets his team off to a good start. He doubles this one into right field. And later, he would score on a Jose Abreu groundout, so it's 1-0 Sox. Bottom half now, the Angels get that run right back. Mike Trout facing Jose Quintana, and the reigning MVP gets a double up the wall. So just like that, we're tied at 1. Bottom of the second now. Johnny Giovatella bloops a single into right. He's thinking 2, but Avi Garcia, oh no, he ain't having it. He guns him down at second. Pretty happy about that. So let's go to the bottom of third. Quintana in some trouble, bases loaded for the Halos, but he gets C.J. Crone the ground to third. Tyler Saladino, oh yeah, makes that play, so the threat is over. Still tied in the 5th, bases loaded for Carlos Sanchez, and he comes through with a clean single up the middle. Adam LaRoche scores as everybody advances, so the Sox take the lead. We're 3-1 after an Eaton sac fly, and Saladino piles it on. He serves a single in the shallow left, and that drives in the 3rd Sox run of the inning, so it's 4-1 Southsiders. Next up is Jose Abreu. He rips a shot down the line with a couple men on. It's called foul, but manager Robin Ventura challenges the call in after review. It's determined the ball just caught the foul line, meaning it's a fair ball. So the umps send both runners home, and the Sox send 10 men to the plate in the 5th, and they lead by 5. This game is currently in the 8th inning. The White Sox leading it 8-2. Orioles and Twins from Baltimore. It's 1-0 Twins in the second. Kirk Suzuki singles this to left with the bases loaded, so 2 runs scored. It's 3-0 Minnesota. Still in the second, it's 4-0 Twins. Brian Dozier adds an RBI single to left center. Yeah, you're going to make that 5-0 Twins now. They're up a dozen in the 8th with the sacks packed in. Eddie Rosario singles to center. That drives in 2 more. So the Twins score 14 unanswered runs to start the game. Oh, man, they just pound Baltimore 15-2. So with the Orioles loss, the Angels will keep their half-game lead over the Orioles. And the White Sox on pace to salvage a game in Anaheim and get within 6 of the Angels, and the Blue Jays still own the top wild card spot. It's time for our Bears preseason coverage, brought to you by Apt Electronics, Appliances, and more. The Bears wrapped up day 2 of their practice against the Colts in Indy, and some changes were made. Charles Leno was taking reps with the first team at right tackle, and Jordan Mills left practice early with a calf injury. Head coach John Fox would not commit to a starter for Saturday's second preseason game against the Colts. And Jay Cutler said the Colts won the day on Wednesday, and the Bears struggled in 2-minute drill situations on Thursday. Both Cutler and Jimmy Clausen threw interceptions, while Andrew Luck marched the Indy offense down the field in their 2-minute offense. But the Bears defenders welcomed the challenge presented by the 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback.
I love doing this, look, man. You know, I think he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in this league. You know, he's very, very wise, you know, beyond his age. He runs a very efficient offense. He's very great at looking off defenders. You know, I think he's very poised, you know, in his decision-making, and you know, he's a hell of a quarterback.
He can run. He can sit in the pocket. So it's different angles how you'll have to rush him. And, you know, instead of going against Jay every day in practice, you got to be disciplined in your rush where you can't go too high. Andrew will take off, or you can't come on too early, he'll take off, and you know, he's a great quarterback.
More NFL action on the way. RG3 goes down, and Johnny Football takes flight. And one Bears insider tells us which wide receiver could step up with Alshon Jeffrey and Kevin White on the shelf.
He's a gamer, you know, you can see that. You can see the fire when he's pitching. They say he's pitching, he's fired up.
Jake Arrieta joining rare company among Cubs elite pitchers. and the righty makes it clear he's not satisfied with just a wild card berth. And Marian Hossa gets his day with the Stanley Cup. Sportsnet Central goes on a Euro trip next.
Bears preseason coverage is presented by Apt, electronics, appliances, and more since 1936.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house. It tackles buildup on shower heads, even coffee pots. And CLR has an EPA designed for the environment seal, so it's safer for your family and the planet. CLR, tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
CLR is available at these fine stores.
Packed house, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Well, how about this moment for the kid?
Code red. Code red. We're code red. Come on, laundry room, staff.
How bad is it?
Oh, she took her juice box right to the face.
Clear.
Okay, so.
What about backup, Lammy?
This is backup, Lammy. All right, go. Go, 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 go. Get your head right. Don't let her see the fear in your eyes.
Okay.
See the new line of Samsung Active Wash washers at Apt.
Today, the Northsiders swing for the bleachers in a Game 2 tilt with Atlanta. But first, join us for Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto. Then, buckle up and let's get ready to rumble. Cubs, Braves, today at 2:30 on CSN. Tonight, the playoff push is on as our Sox wing their way up the West Coast for a weekend set with the M's. Join us at 8:30 for White Sox pregame live, presented by Orland Park Toyota. White Sox versus Mariners tonight on CSN.
Welcome back. It's time now for our summer-long game of Where is the Stanley Cup? And the trophy remains in Europe with Marian Hossa in Slovakia. Number 81 showed off the trophy to some young hockey players in his homeland, and he ate Prigodi out of the cup.
Drives this ball to very deep left, and it will go. 5-0.
The Cubs got back in the win column with the little R&R. Addison Russell hit his 8th home run of the season, and Anthony Rizzo went deep for the 24th time. The Cubs snapped their 3-game losing streak with the 7-1 win over the Braves. And as Luke Stuckmeyer explains with your press pass to Wrigley Field, that was more than enough for Jake Arrieta.
Jake Arrieta was the perfect pitcher to stop the Cubs' losing streak. With the wind blowing out, a ground ball pitcher who gave up not a single fly ball out in his 6 innings. All ground outs, all punch outs. Arrieta now has 12 straight quality starts, the longest streak by a Cubs pitcher in more than 20 years. And he's the first pitcher in the majors this season to 15 wins.
Only thing that matters really is getting back on track as a team. We had a couple of tough games against Detroit after a good run. You know, my job and my mindset was to come out, put a stop to that, and get us going in the right direction, and you know, get another streak rolling.
He's no doubt he's a competitor. He's a gamer. You know, you can see that. You can see the fire when he's pitching. They say he's pitching. He's fired up. You know, he goes out there by his business. You know, he does a really good job. He prepares himself. He worked hard, and that's why, you know, this late in the season he's still putting good numbers, because he's a hard-working guy.
Our expectations to play longer this year, and he's not done that, so I want him to be well for that moment. Regardless of how they feel right now, you got to make those decisions.
And after the game, Arrieta handled a few curveballs of his own. Asked by a reporter if the Cubs would be in a 1-game wild card playoff situation, if he'd expect to be the starting pitcher.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to pitch in the postseason. I think still at this point in time, you know, we don't intend to be a wild card. We still think we can win our division. Everybody wants to pitch in the playoffs. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. But at this point, moving forward, I think the mindset still remains the same of, trying to get the division.
So just how good has Jake Arrieta been this season? Well, veteran catcher Miguel Montero's caught the likes of Dan Herron in his prime and even Hall of Famer Randy Johnson. And Montero says Arrieta is as good as all of them. Covering the Cubs at Wrigley Field, Luke Stuckmeyer, Comcast Sportsnet.
Thank you, Luke. Well, the Cubs will face Braves starter Shelby Miller later today at 3 p.m. right here on CSN. Miller took a no-hitter into the 8th inning in his last start. Kyle Hendricks gets the ball for the Cubs. Our coverage gets started at 2:30 with Cubs pregame live, taking you up to the first pitch right here on CSN. Back to the Bears now. They held their second straight practice against the Colts in Indianapolis, leading up to the second preseason game on Saturday. For more, let's send it across the studio to Pat Boyle.
Joining us now from Indy, Adam Haugh, Bears insider for WGN Radio. Adam, on Wednesday, Jay Cutler said the Colts defense took day one. Who looked better on day two?
Well, I think the Bears defense performed a little bit better today, and I think it was maybe closer today, but right at the end of practice, we saw the Colts march up and down the field in the 2-minute drill with ease, and then Jimmy Clausen threw an interception on his first snap with a 2. So it kind of got ugly for the Bears at the end. So if you had to pick a winner today, it was probably the Colts. But I think overall the Bears were happier with their performance in the second practice.
Alshon Jeffrey and Kevin White on the sidelines. We know Eddie Royals looked pretty good. Give us your wide receiver depth chart at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I still put Jeffrey number 1. He should be back for the start of the regular season. But from there, I mean, Eddie Royals really your number 2 guy. He's probably going to line up outside and inside in the slot. And then Marquise Wilson's kind of got to be able to do those same things, and he's probably your number 3. From there, it's interesting. Will Josh Bellamy stick? He's probably the next guy up alongside Mark Mariani, who has an edge because he's probably, well, I don't know if they made a decision at returner, but he's certainly the leader in the clubhouse as the kick returner, so that gives him an edge as well. I know a lot of fans like what they saw in Cam Meredith, the rookie out of Illinois State last week in the preseason game. He's got an outside chance, but maybe is ultimately a practice squad guy.
Adam, what position battle are you focusing on most at Saturday night's game against the Colts?
Well, Brock Vereen did not perform well in the first preseason game as he got his opportunities with the starters at safety alongside Antrell Roll. Adrian Amos, the rookie out of Penn State, is getting the chance this week. It'll be, it's been kind of hard to really evaluate that in practice because you can't tackle. So the game on Saturday will be huge for Adrian Amos. It's kind of his week to show what he can do. Brock Vereen didn't perform up to expectations. We'll see if Adrian Amos can do it. Otherwise, they probably go to Ryan Mundy, the veteran who actually had a pretty good year last year, I thought, and has played alongside Antrell Roll before. They played together in New York. So ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the pairing.
Adam Haugh, great stuff as always. We'll be following your work on WGN Radio. We'll see you when you get back to Chicago.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Here's some preseason action. The Lions and Redskins. Robert Griffin III playing for the first time since declaring himself the best quarterback in the league late in the first. RG3 gets lit up on an incompletion. Washington forced to punt. So in the second, more trouble for the fourth-year QB deep in his own territory. Griffin fumbles, and Detroit recovers. Well, RG3 stays down. It was just a rough night for Griffin. He was diagnosed with a concussion, but the Redskins rally for the win, 21-17. The Browns and Bills in preseason action. Josh McCown getting the start for Cleveland, and early McCown going deep for Gary Barnidge, but the tight end takes a hit, and McCown's pass is intercepted by Bills corner Ronald Darby. For McCown in the second quarter, the former Bears QB looking for Andrew Hopkins this time, but he overthrows it. Whoopsie. Gets picked off a second time. McCown finished 7 of 10 with the 2 picks. So Johnny Football came in at halftime. The Browns inside the Bills 25, and Mandel steps up in the pocket, and he throws it to the end zone for Shane Wynn, and Manziel was money there. He finished 10 for 18 for 118 yards passing, and the Bills, though, they win this one 11-10. To some NBA news now. LeBron James' supporting cast remains intact. J.R. Smith is heading back to play with the Cavs. The free agent sharpshooter announced the news on his Instagram account. And according to Cleveland.com, Smith agreed to a 2-year deal in which he'll earn $5 million next season with a player option on the second year. Now, Smith scored 12 points per game and made just over 38% of his shots from beyond the arc this past season. Well, the Cubs treated the Wrigley faithful to a 7-1 win over the Braves. Up next on Sportsnet Central, Joe Madden explains what he loves about the atmosphere at the friendly confines. You're watching Sportsnet Central.
Hello! Not getting enough oomph out of your energy drink? Then try an extra strength 5-hour energy shot. Its beefed up blend of vitamins, nutrients, and caffeine make it the very definition of extra strength. Plus, every great flavor has 0 sugar and 4 calories. So, for an energy shot that really pulls its own weight, switch to extra strength 5-hour energy. Oh, could you go left up here? I need to pick up my dry cleaning.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Genuine Dickies jeans that fit your style from Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Light ones, dark ones, ones with loops or utility pockets. Classic fit, relaxed fit, carpenter, or just plain jeans. Whatever your shape or size, Blaine's Farm and Fleet has the color, style, and size for you. Right now, Dickies regular fit jeans are only $14.99. Relaxed fit sanded duck carpenter jeans are $21.99. And Dickies relaxed fit ripstop carpenter pants just $24.99. Genuine value. That's Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
And here we go, folks.
It's your favorite hot dog bun, mustard, and overpriced watered-down beer.
Are you sure you want to eat all that? Because you already weigh more than your team's batting average.
Let's just toast to our anniversary. Oh no, it's corked.
Let's just watch the game. I tweeted all of your friends to come over, but I guess no one showed up.
That's okay. I invited one of your friends too.
It's out of here.
Give a real anniversary gift this year. Escape to the Champagne Lodge in Willowbrook. Book your next special memory at the Champagne Lodge today. You know you deserve it.
Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Weeknights on Comcast Sportsnet.
Welcome back. Make sure you join us tonight at 7 p.m. for the premiere of Chicago Fire All Access. The 30-minute show takes you behind the scenes of the Fire on match day and what the players' unique strength and conditioning program is like. That's tonight at 7 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. On Thursday, the city of Chicago unveiled honorary Duchy Carey Way at the corner of Michigan and East Pearson. The city calls Carey the first lady of Chicago baseball, and the widow of the late Harry Carey was honored by the recognition. Back to our top story on Sportsnet Central. The Cubs beat the Braves 7-1 in their opener of the 4-game series. The Cubs, they snapped their 3-game losing streak thanks to home runs by Anthony Rizzo and Addison Russell. As well as Jake Arrieta's 12th straight quality start, the Cubs are now 9 games over 500 at the friendly confines. And before Thursday's game, Joe Madden sat down with us to explain what he loves about managing at Clark and Addison.
It's pretty incredible. I've been in some good baseball situations. I've been through some significant moments, World Series, All-Star games, playoff wins, and all kinds of good stuff. The atmosphere on a nightly basis, for me, is unparalleled. I've been, you talk about New York and Boston in playoff situations and other big market areas. I'm eager. I'm eager to find out or feel what it's like to be in a playoff game here at Wrigley, because even when it's not a playoff situation, it kind of feels that way.
Continue our White Sox coverage from Anaheim. The White Sox led by 3 in the 5th when Jose Abreu lines a foul ball down the left field line, and Robin Ventura challenges the call, and it's eventually ruled a fair ball. So 2-run score on the strange double, so the Sox, they're up 5. It's now a 4-run lead in the 8th. Adam LaRoche hasn't homered since August 7th, but he gets all of this one. It's deep to right center and long gone. LaRoche's 11th gives the Sox plenty of insurance. This game is in the bottom of the 9th. White Sox up 8-2. And just a reminder, White Sox are back in action with marquee pitching matchup tonight on CSN. Chris Sale against Felix Hernandez just after 9 o'clock. Our coverage gets started at 8:30 with White Sox pregame live, taking you right up to the first pitch.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus.
Number 3 goes to Jacob Hanneman of the Cubs AA affiliate. The Tennessee Smokies, the center fielder, makes 2 spectacular catches against the Montgomery Biscuits, but it wasn't enough as the Biscuits rout the Smokies 17-4. Number 2, Giants and the Pirates. Starlin Marte's grounder is ticket for center, but Brandon Crawford has other plans. What a grab and behind the back toss for the force at second. Slick play by Crawford there, and number 1 goes to Tiger Woods on his first hole of the day at Wyndham Championship. Tiger holds out his chip from the rough, and the birdie gets his round off to a great start and earns our play of the day. All right, that's going to do it. I'm Ayanna Crystal. Thanks for joining us on Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR. And for all your sports news 24/7, make sure you stay logged on to csnchicago.com. Have a great day, everyone.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house. It tackles buildup on shower heads, even coffee pots. And CLR has an EPA designed for the environment seal, so it's safer for your family and the planet. CLR, tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
CLR is available at these fine stores.
See the full line of Frigidaire Professional products at Apt. Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
Are you afraid of getting out of debt, stressed out, but afraid to do anything? Filing bankruptcy is like going to the dentist. Most people wait and stress out, but feel a lot better once they go. In bankruptcy, just like the dentist, can be painless. I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Call us now or log on to infotapes.com. You won't know how good you'll feel being debt-free until you do.
1-800-401-4010. You can make Friday's endless apps last all night, but we can't make them last forever. So grab $10, some hungry friends, and dig in while they last. Endless apps make every day a happy Friday.
The only thing constant about the real estate market is change, which means it's changing constantly. You need an app constantly changing with it. Oh, look, here's one here. Realtor.com. Real estate in real